And hello, we are back. And with a face that probably sounds familiar from what was it, 6, 7 months ago?
Yeah,
Star West, you were
Star West.
interviewing,
I was. You gave me the chance to interview and
not the
meet with
chance.
this.
Mi stage is to a stage. Mi casa es su casa.
Yes, I got to be your partner in crime
Yeah,
over. So that was fun.
very good partner in crime. She interviewed all the exhibition booths and sat here interviewing Erika Chestnut.
Yeah.
And well, too many background. Stacy Kirk with us. Welcome, Stacy.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back.
How are you?
I'm doing really well. I
After
it's
all these adventures, all this excitement,
Oh
are you
yeah.
finally relaxing a little bit?
I am relaxing, and there's a very cool and unique vibe here in Orlando. Being here at Star East, we get different industries,
Yeah.
and different industries have different vibes, and I just love diverse vibes in general. So I'm enjoying how laid back we are here in Orlando, and everyone is very friendly. So it's a good place to be.
It's an interesting vibe because even uh, for the ones that do not know, we have some help from our amiga Tanya back there in the camera.
Yeah.
And
Hello.
when I invited her, like, hey, I need some help with the camera, I'm like, oh, do I need to wear a tie or something? Like, nah, we're coming to a testing conference. It's the most chilled and relaxed people, the
Very
testing
chill.
community, right?
Very chill.
It's incredible. And well, before we get off rolling with all the adventures that you have been having lately, because you have had a few super interesting ones. For the ones that do not know you, mind sharing a little bit about who are you and why you came to the Star conferences?
Oh yeah. So my name's Stacy Kirk. I have been in testing for a very long time, over 25 years. And what got me excited about testing was there was just so much opportunity to innovate, and it
Mm.
was like an open field, and I think it still is an open field where people that have ideas on how to improve testing, make it faster, can have a voice. And that voice led me to start my own company in 2010 called QualityWorks Consulting Group. We have offices in Los Angeles, Kingston, Jamaica. We have clients all over the world, and I'm just excited to be here this time at Star East with two people from my team that are veterans in thought leadership. Chantel Gale Stewart, Julia Pottinger, they both were speaking along with me. And it's just great for us to be here and just sharing what we've learned being out there in the industry and working, with our clients and beyond.
I didn't know that you had multiple offices, and I'm guessing Julia as well has a little
Yeah.
bit to do with that. Hi, Julia. I think I saw her around a couple of times. Haven't had chance to catch up, but it's incredible all this girl power and QA power that you are bringing to the conference.
I've got to bring it.
Yeah, it's
If I'm going to come, I got to bring the power.
it's needed, and I think QA is one of the most gender regarding balanced
Balance. Yeah, I agree.
areas of IT. I'm super happy about that. We still need more ladies. It's super important. But we're not here to talk about that. I'm glad you're sponsors. You had a booth. We had a chance to
Yes.
stop by
Yes.
your
We are a
stand booth.
gold sponsor this year, which is
Yeah,
really great.
it's a great experience. I love to see you all over the place, everywhere, and literally everywhere because every time that you open the booklet for the program of the show, the first opening keynote for this event. Da, 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 da.
That was me. I felt very special to get the number one slot to kick off this conference. So that was really exciting. A little nerve wracking, but also really exciting.
Had you done keynotes before?
I have. I've done a keynote at Star West, and it was in 2019. It was my last in person keynote that I've done. And it was right before pandemic, and it was really cool. And then the pandemic hit, and between juggling life, as everyone had to juggle a lot of
Mm.
different things, I took some time off from doing keynotes. I'll say I did. I did. It's not. I did a keynote in Germany, and I did a few keynotes that were virtual. But this was my first time back in person since the pandemic. So this was an extra pressure because it's like, hey, can I still bring it? And I hope I did. I hope I did.
Because by now it's 5 years since the last time that
Yeah,
you did it.
it's a long
Don't
time.
you feel like it's like a muscle that gets a little bit rusty if you don't continue to push it?
You know, I think the biggest challenge for me was just making sure that I am continuing to do the things that I like to talk about, which is inspiring people to challenge themselves to be the best person they can be, like to really channel into their strengths, and to embrace technology, embrace collaboration, and just go out there and be fearless. So that's what I love to talk about, and being able to find how to do that in a really cool and engaging way that thousands of people will be able to get some value out of is a little bit challenging. But I feel like once you've done it, it's kind of like, okay, I've spoke in front of large crowds. I've got that. Just want to continue to keep it fresh and relevant. And AI is in a space that has made everyone have to kind of stop and figure out where we should be. And so I've had a lot of those deep internal conversations. What do I want to tell the test community about where we should head in AI, which was really cool. I feel like I know now my position, and it was great to share it on the stage yesterday.
Sounds like you had like some options on where to drive the conversation during your keynote. I know that you chose like this path that you presented. We're gonna get into that. Which ones were others that you were considering? Sounds like you had other
Yeah. Well, I
options.
started. I love to talk about things that are hot topics.
Hmm.
Um, I, I lightly touched on FinOps, but I just used the word one time in my talk. I was planning to potentially go a lot deeper into FinOps, because at the time that I was thinking about this, in August of last year, it was a very hot topic. And I unfortunately, AI just ran over every other
Keeps
topic.
exploding. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so the other area that I read about almost every week in the news is these layoffs and
Mm.
companies changing their priority around time to market, and focusing now on like, hey, we want to be profitable. So think of large startups like an Uber and Lyft, which are humongous, but in terms of profitability, they may not be as where they want to be. And I think the shift now is, no, we need to make money, and we just don't want to spend. And so I wanted to kind of figure out how to talk about that in a broader perspective of testing. And I touched on it lightly, but those were two of the really kind of big areas. And as I went into these conversations, I realized everything starts with the person and in their mind and mindset. And so what ended up happening is my talk ended up focusing more on the person and their mindset, their style of communicating, their style of interacting, because that still, I believe, is a foundation of what makes us do the things that we do or not do the things that we do. And so that's
Hmm.
kind of how I pivoted back to people. I didn't want to have such a soft side conversation, but um, at the end of the day, and this is how I run my company, people first. It's all about the people. I am not a company, I am a group of people. And I tell people the name of my company is not just QualityWorks, it's QualityWorks Consulting Group,
Hmm.
which is a name that I came up with when I only had one employee, and that was me. But I thought, you know what? If I'm going to do anything great, I'm going to need a group. and that still has held
Oh,
true.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's not. I've got a decent brain, but when it comes to really greatness, that's a group effort.
Sounds like yeah, if you kept it at a group with only one person, like multiple personalities, or what are we talking about here?
They probably
And
thought I was weird.
but
You're a
sounds more like you
consulting
were
group of one.
preparing the stage for what
I
was to
was
come,
preparing.
right?
Yes.
And well, on one hand, caring about people and talking about people, I find it very interesting that you got your aim around the layoff situation that and the switching on the industry. Probably I hadn't noticed it enough, but now that you mentioned, like, oh, you're right, it's all over the place. I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you
Yeah.
don't have the radar up and checking,
Mm,
but that's right. And I think that would have been an awesome keynote as well.
mm,
Some people in the audience may be like, yeah,
yeah.
that she's right. But still, people in the audience were like, yeah, she's right. Because the topic that you decided, I was not able to watch it. I'm
Mhm.
gonna have to check the recordings. Everyone, if you are registered in the Staris platform, you can watch the recording of her keynote. Don't miss it out. We're gonna spoil it a little bit today, but don't miss it. You can go and check it, and I will go and check it.
Mhm.
So it's for me and for the audience.
Please.
Uh, please remind me the title of the keynote.
So the title was Fast, Not Furious, the Next Era of Test Productivity.
Hmm.
Long. I don't know why I picked these long lines, these long names, but the next era of test productivity. Yeah.
I feel you because in the morning when I start the conference and I start doing the walking tour, I read all of them and I
Mhm.
stumble on yours as well. Like furious, yes, fast, furious. Take two. Uh, it's
Yeah.
mouthful, but I think
Tongue
it.
twister. I like the tongue twister names.
Yeah, yeah. You and some other speakers. I got a fun time trying to pronounce everything at once, and I totally see the not furious part. Nothing furious generally is good, but spoil it a little bit. What
Yeah.
was?
I mean, I talk about what makes testers furious, we are asked to be very fast, yet we are not given sometimes the resourcing we need, the training we need, the time definitely that we need, the information that we need, but we are asked to be fast. And I will tell you this, a little spoiler, but I was shocked. One of the things that it's important is I want us as a community to get better at talking about where we're headed and to sit down and brainstorm how do we do things better. We don't do that. I go to a lot of conferences, probably as you do as well, and one thing that I see different at the development conferences is people are sitting there and they're talking in little huddles and corners about technology, and they're pulling it out and they're figuring stuff out. And we don't do that enough.
Hmm.
And so I wanted to, even in my keynote, to show people I'm polling testers, like I'm asking testers. So I asked the audience a question, and I didn't know how they were going to answer it. And so if you poll an audience, you kind of want to know what they're going to say so that you'd be like, and I knew you were going to say that and blah, 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 blah. But I was like, I don't know what they're going to say. So I had like almost a branch in my speech, like, if they say this, then if they say
Oh,
that, then. And I was just like, but
very
please. And,
programmatical.
and then I even Googled, like, if you want most people to raise your hand one way, do you tell them, do you say raise your hand first or raise your hand second on that? Just kind of slide the audience into the way I wanted them to go.
I'm very
Um,
curious. What did you find about that? What is the best one?
well, I found that people are a little bit nervous in raising their hand, especially I'll say our audience. So whatever you don't want them to raise their hand about, say that one first, and that will kind of they'll start looking
Start sparking
around. But
the.
by the second time, they're like, okay, they kind of warm up.
Do it
So
twice, okay.
so the question I asked was, in terms of perception, the colleagues that you work with in your current or previous organization, do you feel that they think that the testing function is fast or slow? So do you think pretty much do people in your company think that testers are fast or slow? And so I was like, if you think they believe that you are fast, raise your hand.
And
Now
not
there
that
was
many.
probably like, I don't know, it seemed like 600-700 people in there. Not one hand.
Wow.
And I was looking all the way back, and I was like, "Oh, okay." And
Really?
not one person has had an experience where they believe that testers are fast.
Wow.
And I think that's a problem. And if no one, if we are working our buns off trying to meet deadlines and expectations and working as fast as we possibly can, and nobody thinks that we're fast, then I'd be furious. And that's pretty much where we that's kind of where we're starting from. Like, aren't you kind of furious? Like, you were doing so much and getting so little recognition for it. So that was kind of the basis of what we kicked off. Now the hard part was, and I was having a conversation sometime last summer,
Hmm.
and I saw someone go, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go see Fast and Furious 10," and I was like, "What?
There has been 10 of
There's
those?
been 10 of those? What?
Actually, I think 11 or 12, but
No, it's 10, but there's an 11th one coming out, which was just announced recently."
oh, wow.
But I was like, "Wait, there was 10 of those movies?" I was like, where did the time go, and how did I not know, and how why would they choose that movie to make 10? You know, I was like, I mean, they were okay. The movies are okay, but 10 of them?
I don't understand it either.
I didn't understand. And so that was like, I was like, I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to figure this out, and I'm going to tie it in with QA. And I got to say, that was one of the hardest things I had to do. I feel like even up until early this week, I was like, how do I tie in Fast and Furious, the movie, with what we do as testers? And it was a little tricky, but I
I,
worked it out.
when you described the wordplay, uh, hmm, um, I was like, I see it. When they none in the organization thinks that QA is fast enough,
Mm.
I see how can that make you furious. Do you explain or dig into why the organization is not considering QA being fast enough or adequate?
Yeah,
I have some theories, but I'm curious of.
yeah. Well, I start off by saying, by nature, and I'm going to give a shout out to Erica Chestnut, who I did a tutorial with the day before on
Mhm.
confident communication. Um, and by nature, 75% or 3 out of 4 QA testers have a style of S and C in the DISC assessment. And S stands for steadiness, C stands for conscientiousness. But there are traits that testers have that make them so good at being testers,
Mhm.
but also can make them very slow to move on things. And so I told them, let's not share. I'm going to tell you kind of all of our weaknesses right now, but do not share this with developers. That's just going to give them, like, gas
More weapons.
for the flame. Like, I told you guys were slow. But if you think about it, we are asked to take technology and make it as close to perfect as possible. And in making anything perfect, that slows you down. And so there's that balance of, are we going to be perfectionists, or are we just going to go, good enough, let's keep moving forward? And so those are the type of things that, and we like to um, analyze and make sure we have all the details. And that's kind of why we're great at testing, because product will tell us 5 things the functionality or feature is supposed to do, and if we only tested those 5 things, oh man, we'd have a lot of bugs. But we continue to ask questions and to think through all of the variations and all of the things that could go wrong, but that makes us risk averse. And because we don't take risk, what happens? We slow down. So those are some of the challenges that I've seen. But what have you seen? What do you think it is?
uh, it's interesting because you got me thinking right now. You Yeah, the analysis paralysis. Testers tend to like, I need to figure out everything. You'll never go to production because I really need to filter.
Yeah.
And uh, we're kind of detail oriented,
Mm.
almost OCD detail oriented.
Yeah.
And I think you very well said it. It's a characteristic of a tester.
Mm.
But when you were telling that, I'm like, I wonder if that is, in my experience, opinion, and where I have seen struggles. Because again, you brought it. Everybody's experience is different. We
Mm.
see things from different perspectives. In my endeavors, the problem has been a little bit these teams migrating to agile and continuous, but the QA is
On board or
not finding the best ways to do it.
yeah.
My rant with Star West, I was like, automation pyramid of sacrifices. Stop doing sacrifices. The sacrifices will slow you down if you keep doing front end testing. Try to
Mm.
migrate, focus on lower levels, enable your team. We should not be the bottlenecks. Some things
Mm.
like that. Why we become, not only the team may view us as slow, or like, yeah, we're ready for this release. The tester is holding us. Ugh, that I felt heard it, and like, dude, I'm doing my work. I'm sorry, but
Yeah. And listen, a lot of Agile was not planned out and designed for testing in theory, but not in execution.
mhm.
And so a lot of testers had to kind of figure it out as they went. Like, yeah, just you while developers are developing, you test and be like, well, how does that really work, right? And so we had to kind of work back to figure out how do we keep up. And it's a little challenging.
No,
Yeah.
but you're right. Even like, because I like to propose a lot, like testing production and rollback easy things
Hmm.
like that. But at the same time, even as I preach that, I feel uneasy just like releasing to production, don't test. Like, oh no, I need to kind of at the very least check a billion things.
Mm.
At the very least, uh, I know sometimes it's the best practice, but that personality and aptitude for testers to be more like dedicated. Uh, I would say perfectionists
Hmm.
tend to be as well part of the enemy.
Yeah.
There are multiple reasons, multiple things
There
that.
are, and I list, and I want people to go and watch it. I list 6 reasons, 3 per personality type
Oh, cool.
that
Which
that
ones? Yeah.
and that are why we are slow, and we are slow to respond. And then I tie it into how people move really fast in Fast and Furious movies
Mm-hmm.
because they already move fast, just like we move fast, but
Action, action,
but
action.
there's a way they move faster, and it has to do with something called nitrous oxide
And family.
and family. Yes, which I bring in at the end, and that's part of what I ended with, which is um, we and no there's no Fast and Furious movie where it just had one character getting to the end. Right? It
Mm-mm.
took the family, and it was not a family of blood relatives. It was people that came together with really diverse backgrounds, but they worked together to accomplish things. And we have to, as our test community, we have to start to really rally around where we're going to go. um
Like a community and like a team. We end
yeah.
up being family.
Yeah. And I say faster and farther together. That's already a saying, but we need to really understand that it will not be like it has been before. AI is not like, someone said it today, and I kind of wanted to correct them. They're like, well, you remember how everyone was scared that automation was going to take their jobs? It didn't. And it'll be the same with AI. And nothing about AI is showing itself to be exactly the same as automation. This isn't just the next technology, it is going to change everything, not just testing, not just development, everything. And so we can pull some of the, okay, it's a new technology, it's not going to take your jobs right away, but we also have to understand, how is it not going to take our jobs? How are we going to position ourselves in a way where we are the human in the loop that ensures that AI is used for good, it is high quality. And I think there's so many opportunities for us. And I'm excited about that, but I do want to make sure that we are really paying attention and we don't let this kind of momentum, exponential momentum of AI pass us, a and go at the pace at automation, because it's so different.
I totally agree. It's not an enemy. It's not going to replace us. It's like automation. If any, automation brought more work to the QA areas, and I have a feeling AI will enable us to do more testing and will require us to do more testing,
Yeah.
and in both ends. And don't be worried about it. Just embrace it, adopt it, exploit it, because we're gonna be super busy in the next
Just be a little worried though.
a little bit.
But we are. Just be a little worried. But that's who we are anyway. Just a little worried, and just worried enough to move. Because I will tell you, and I know we got to kind of close, because we look for perfection, we don't want to use AI until it's perfect. And I don't want that. I want us to be enough worried where we kind of drop down our barriers of entry. And then we'll be good. Will be lots of opportunities.
Start
Yeah.
using it. Testing production.
Yeah.
Yay.
Have fun with it every day.
Amiga Stacy, those are awesome recommendations. Those are awesome words. Everybody, please pay attention to those. If you were not able to watch the keynote, please take a look. And I know that you share more knowledge and you are active on socials and other mediums. Where can people find out about you, follow you, and send some questions if they are?
Yeah, really want people to reach out to me. I realized that someone said that I was regal yesterday. And I was like, I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but I think that means I intimidate
Regal,
them,
like royalty?
like royalty. But I want to make sure I am not that person. I'm a down home country girl. I want people to reach out and ask me the questions that they need. I'm on LinkedIn. That's the medium in which I share information, that's and communicate with people. They can go to my website or my company's website, QualityWorksCG.com. You can search on Stacy Kirk, Kirk, and you can see all the social media that I have and also my company. But I do think I can't figure it out. I need a group too. We all need that group, and so let's keep talking and figuring it out together.
I think that the royalty thing comes from you are the queen of testing and
Queen.
automation.
Yes, I
And
guess I did call myself the queen
I
of
think
AI testing. So I'll take it, but just don't be too intimidated.
it's not
Let's talk.
intimidating.
And yeah, great.
Yeah, it's accessible. She's a very good amiga. She's full of knowledge and always willing to help people share the knowledge, enable um, her, well, your group, as you call it.
when Let's make that bigger group, the one we need.
Let's keep it growing and holding each other. And well, amiga Stacy, you are the last victim of the day,
Whew,
at least for the
I
interviews. And
survived.
I'm sure you are as well. Like, oh my God, I after a keynote, after tutorials and all the action that we have been having. Thank you so much for coming, for taking this time. I know I'm
you.
holding you from another keynote that is happening right now. So with that, I think I will let you know. I would love to keep talking to you for hours and hours. But again, thank you for coming.
Thank you. It was a pleasure, like always.
Really, really
Appreciate it.
appreciate it.
Okay.
And then you have it. As I said, the last interview. But this is not over until it is over, because we're going to have the closing stream, walking around, seeing how all the people go back to their homes and their places, cities, wherever they come from, because they come from all over the place, happy, with new friends, with new knowledge and new experiences. So stay tuned, because we are coming back in a few minutes. Stacy, again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Leandro out and Stacy out.
Bye.
Adios.
Adios.